Hey, hello everyone. Hello world. How's it going? My name is Freddie. I'm with Major League Hacking, and I am a software engineer. This is my first MLH stream that I'm doing. I'm really happy to be here. Um, and we're going to be going over the CLI. I know a lot of people use Linux and Mac and Windows, so I recommend if any of these things that I talk about aren't working exactly the same for you on your end, feel free to use your favorite AI terminal like Gemini, or just go straight to Google and try to write out what you're trying to do here and see if you can get it to work on your side. At the end of the session, I'll be doing Q&A and talking, so I can definitely help with anything or address any comments that I may have missed at the start of this. So let's see what's going on. Oh, thank you all so much. I see Bodhi here, says hello. Hi, Bodhi. And we have Code with June, who showed up early. Yes, indeed, Code with June. Let's go, right? Hello from Ryan number 2. Hi, Ryan number 2. It's great to see you all. Thanks for spending some time on Friday learning here. So for what I have in mind today, I want to try to spend as much time on the terminal as possible. I saw someone make a comment earlier asking about what exactly we were going to be doing here. I'll pull the comments up. Oh, it was you, June. They were asking about if we were going to be doing stuff on Linux, or if we were going to be building like a new CLI kind of maybe script or something. We're actually just going to be learning some quick tips and things like that on the terminal itself. Not necessarily building anything, but the way I've layered this is that we'll be going through very basic things at the start, and then we'll go through some more medium level things. And then at the very end, we'll just be going over more advanced things where you could be essentially building new stuff at the end of this, making it more customized, making it more personal, and ultimately more efficient for how you develop. A lot of the things that I'm showing here will be around GitHub and Python. But if you're a Java developer like I was once upon a time, you could use these things that I'm teaching you and make them Java commands rather than Python commands overall. So thanks for asking that question, Code with June. That was a great question there. Let me just see what I've got going on. And is that a... Hello, Freddie. Ryan said hi from previous session. Hello. I wonder how many Ryans are in this chat right now. I guess it's something that comes to mind. Oh, well, thank you, Miss Married to the Game. Ryan said you said hi. Well, thank you for coming and doing 2 sessions today. That's great. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Ryan, from the previous session, Ryan Lay, for also saying hi to me. And Jin, thank you for bringing the message to me. I appreciate it very much. So let's see what we've got here. I've got a few resources, actually, that I wanted to share. I will be going through these. Are any of you familiar with Brad Travisry on YouTube? Pretty popular YouTuber that makes a lot of content for different programming languages and frameworks. I think he's been doing it for probably over 10 years at this point. Anyone familiar with Brad Travisry? That's OK if you're not. I just wanted to mention their name because I will be using one of their resources for this session. And yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. Thank you both. Yeah, I love their stuff too. They just uploaded some new content recently that was talking about like the future of programming videos, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And it did make me get really interested in partaking in these MLH streams, actually, because I think there's no better way of like learning than doing, So maybe that's where the future of his content will go to. But thank you all for the responses there. So let me share my screen or this tab here, and we can just go over a few of the commands that I find interesting, and then I'll also just share the link with you all as well. So let me pull up this, and then that, and then this, and then that, and then I'll do this. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, everyone, sorry to delay things, but if you haven't yet, before I really get into all of the content here, if you haven't already, please go ahead and register and check in for the MLH event that we have going on here. I believe I have a banner that I can also throw out for this. Let me find it. Yeah, there it is. So if you haven't already, please check in. It'd be super great, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, I will now share my screen. So this is the document that I plan on going through for most of this class, or most of this session here. There's a few commands that I wanted to go over here, and some that weren't mentioned here that have been like my biggest time savers. So I do want to shout those out, and then we'll just go into some more like general things to talk about how to navigate the terminal as well. To begin with, we have the up arrow, which will show your last command, the down arrow, which shows you the next one. And then if you weren't familiar with this one, I see a lot of people in my day job that aren't familiar with this. If you're working on a terminal and you press tab when you're typing something out, if a file that has like that prefix already exists, it'll autocomplete it for you. And if there's multiple, like if you have text.file and text2.file, it'll show a sub menu that'll ask you to pick which one of the two that you'd want to like move forward with. Some really useful ones here, like the control options, canceling a command, clearing the screen, as well as the search command, which has been incredibly useful for me, and then also, to exit the terminal. So, I'm going to talk about these a little, so now I'd like to just show them as well. Let me go ahead and switch to that screen now. Yeah. And share screen. Do this. There we go. Share screen. Window. Oh, what is this? Is this the first Star Wars movie, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, playing from my terminal right now? It is. It is. And that is because, to be curious, any tips? And that is because through the terminal, you can do a huge array of things. Basically, everything you've ever done on a computer can be done on your terminal. This is like one of the biggest, I would say, memes of the terminal that I've always really enjoyed. Look at this. Is that Luke Skywalker training? I think it is. And it's really fun. I'll show the command for this also. But I will share that now, actually. But let me show you the first command here. So the movie's going on. I'm sorry, all. We're going to have to end it. If you want to watch it later, feel free. You can watch the entire thing. It's always been a goal of mine to sit through this entire ASCII movie. I don't think I've ever done like the full hour or 2-hour kind of session, but there's a huge community out there of people that make like entire films in ASCII. And this is definitely one that I think is really awesome. I'm glad you guys you all are enjoying it so much. So I've shown you this, and now I'm going to teach you your first trick. It's Control-C. That will just close out of, I see Q is also an option, but Control-C will close out of any program that you have running on your terminal. So I'll just run that real quick, and now we've closed it up. So let me be clear. I will share the command also if you'd like to run this yourself. It's actually just an SSH command that takes you to another server that plays that script. So let me paste that in here. You may have some issues if you don't have SSH enabled, but yep, just dropped it in there. Thank you, Major League Hacking, as well. And yeah, have fun running that later on. But going back to my terminal here. So another big one that I think is really useful. I have this whole string here, and one thing I could do is like delete the entire string like that, which requires holding on to backspace for X amount of minutes. If you have like a super long curl URL, it'll take you a very long time to delete the whole thing. See, it's kind of even close. I don't even. I'm deleting way more than I thought I would be. Okay, okay. So one thing I wanted to show you was that when you have like a really long message going on here, instead of clicking backspace the entire time, what you can do to clear the entire line is Control U. So when you type Control U, it just deletes everything that you've typed and lets you type something else out, which is great. Another big thing that I think is really useful as well, if you have like well, I guess I don't have any curl commands because this isn't my day-to-day computer that I'm using here, but okay, yeah, say I have like this really long curl command. Sure, that looks good. So I have this whole thing, and I don't really want to like type the entire thing out. I can bash terminal is a little slow here. Damn, Control U is cool. I think Control U is really cool too. Thanks for shouting it out. So I have this long curl command. Well, I don't know. Something's really weird at the terminal here, but if I have like a curl command that goes to like google.com or something, and it's really long, it's very long, and maybe it's like for an API, so like there's v3, and then you've got your route, like shopping cart or something. You have all these things going on. If you don't want to delete the entire line, but you want to go back to the front of the line because maybe you typed curl wrong, maybe there's an extra U, and now you got to hold on to like the left arrow for a few seconds. Really fun way to like jump to the far left that has also been really useful for me. Yeah, I see Cosmo, you're asking if I'm using git bash. Yes, this is git bash here. On my actual computer for work, I'm using Z Shell, which is the Mac version. But anything that's Linux-based will work here. If you're on Windows, I specifically recommend you either get like the Windows subsystem for Linux, or you get, or I guess it's the Linux subsystem for Windows, or you get the git bash, which is also a really useful way of typing this all out. But regardless of that, the point I was making before is if you have a long URL, you don't want to delete the entire thing, and you don't really want to sit there and like press the back arrow for a few seconds, what you can do to get to the front of, to move your cursor to the front of the line is do Control A, which has been super useful for me. So yep, there I am. Now I'm over here. And like I spelled that, and I jumped to the front, and I can delete it. So now I can actually run the curl command. But I suppose there's always balance in the world. If you can do one thing, you imagine you can do like the opposite of it too. So if you're curious, you had it right. Okay, yeah, WSL is back. It is, yeah, WSL. Let me just like shout this out from Raven. It is very strange to say WSL when it's the Windows subsystem for Linux. When it's something that you're like installing on your Windows machine, I guess it's like a Windows subsystem, which makes sense. Maybe it's not for Linux. Maybe it's Windows subsystem Linux. Anyway, I'll drop your comment. But yeah, thanks for responding to me on that, Raven. But to get to the point, though, if you want to jump to the far right side of this, so if you wanted to add something to like the word shopping, what you can do is, hey, what's up, Totally Worth? We're just going to be going over like some CLI commands, just some really basic like controls that you can do to jump around the terminal a little bit faster. What I showed originally was that you can jump to the front of a line by doing Control A. And if you want to jump to the end of it, I'm finally going to tell you all, you can do Control E. So that'll take you to the end. And then that can let you type something else over here if you needed to run something, which is pretty useful. And now I'm just going to get rid of all this because it's not very useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and run Control U and close that out. The only other thing that you probably missed, Totally Worth, is that we had ran a script to play like the entire Star Wars movie in ASCII art, which is really fun. So maybe we'll come back to that a little bit later too, and have everyone run it. But I'll just run clear real quick and continue showing some of the different commands that you can also run. So I think the next thing that'll show you is that you can run the tab command. Well, it's not a command, but you can use tab, and it can be very helpful as well. So let me do this. Let me open this up, and let me show you that, well, I will press tab. I will do ls, actually, since I'm on my home screen here, and I want to show you what's actually in this. Hello. Okay, great. So before I show you how tab is, there's actually some very simple commands that you're going to be using all the time when you're running stuff on the terminal. And a lot of you may already know this, but I do think that it's important to like stop and show you these as well before I go like too far into the weeds. So when you run ls, you'll be showing all of the files that are in the directory that you're currently in. So for me, I'm in my home directory. So when I run ls, I get a bunch of files that I have just stored here in my home directory. A lot of random stuff, like some different apps that I worked on and things like that. But if I do ls, I see a lot of these different files. And then I'll get into the fact that you can do a lot of other fun stuff with ls. But the second one that you'll use more than anything else is the cd command. So cd changes directories, and then this will let you move from one directory to another. So I'll do cd, and then I'll go into that EAFAR app that I was talking about. So there we go. There, I just did the thing. So instead of sitting here typing EAFAR-web-app and then pressing enter to get into it, you can actually do cd and then just the y, since it's the only thing in my project that has y, and press tab. And that'll autocomplete everything so that you can kind of jump into that directory a little bit faster. Now, if I pressed enter, I'd go and be in the same kind of space that I was here, which is just like the main branch of this directory that I have here. But before I press enter and navigate all of that, I just want to show you that you can also press tab again to get some suggestions for different files that you could also cd into. So you can go one layer deep, and then before you press enter, you can actually build out an entire file directory path to jump from your home directory to the EAFAR app to the EAFAR UI maybe, or the node modules directory or something like that. So I'll just jump into the EAFAR web app real quick so that we can be in here. And to prove that I am inside of this new directory, I'll just run ls to show you that now I have those. Now I have these files available for me to click on. I'm going to check the comments real quick on the streams just to make sure that there's not anything big that I missed here. So let me just see. So git bash. OK. I usually go word by word to get to the end, which can be stressful. It is stressful because if you type one letter wrong, it's not going to work. These computers are so like, specific. So it's good to have like tab and things just to be like very absolute and a little bit more automatic. And now we have blue arrow here. I'll put their question up here. Blue arrow says, I mainly use CMD as for my project and package management and for training for Git. I agree. I do a lot of Git stuff as well. Is it best to stay on it or to go to a more user-friendly terminal? Because I find myself saving commands in text files. Yeah, so it's funny to see that you say you save your commands in text files. I will say that Blue Arrow, that is totally fine. Everyone has like their own specific system or way of learning these things and using them and recalling them and storing that information. So don't be too bothered if you have to save everything onto like a text file to remember all of these different commands. I'd say keep doing it because it is really useful. In my opinion, you'll only be growing this skill for the rest of your career. So keep at it. And who knows, maybe that text file where you're saving commands might follow you to the next, few jobs, few degrees, few projects that you work on. You'd be surprised how something like that could really snowball into something really effective. So yeah, Blue Arrow, if I had to say, like, is there a more user-friendly terminal? to answer that question directly, I think anything that's kind of got like a Unix kind of design is a lot better for me. There's another question talking about PowerShell, and I really don't recommend working in PowerShell. That's a lot more for just doing like Windows administrative stuff, in my opinion. I've never really felt comfortable working on PowerShell myself, although it does give you a little bit more of like a developer feel, like what you'd experience from a Linux or a Unix system like Mac. Um, I would recommend, like, maybe if you're very new to all of this, like Git Bash is a great way to start messing with the terminal, because you get like that really good Linux feel, which is pretty universal. Um, so yeah, thanks, Blue Arrow, for asking. Yeah, WSL only. Okay, actually, Code with June. I think that I'm gonna have to pin your message here because that is a pretty good point. WSL is actually becoming like the standard as another terminal that everyone's using. I personally just use my Windows PC to game on, and I kind of forgot that it was a big part of it. I'm kind of a Mac guy these days, but you can't really go wrong, Blue Arrow. I think the only way that you can go wrong is if you don't try things. That's the best way to learn. Let me see if there's some more questions here to look at. Ignite telling me hi from Ryan. Well, thanks. It's okay, you're not late. We're just getting started. And then, is this the same question here on Windows? Which is better, PowerShell or CMD? I think they both kind of do different things, although they look sort of similar. And I'm going to default back to June's point, which is WSL only. I agree. CMD is the legacy one, PowerShell, yeah. And that's true. Practice CLI commands. Oh, interesting. The Bandit game from Over the Wire. I'm not familiar with this one. Is it free? Maybe we could play it later if we have some time to like go through some different terminal commands and test the chat's knowledge on everything. That'd be really cool. Oh my god. Well, this is Bodhi. You're silly for that one. I often get caught in a dilemma. So what is your dilemma here, gamers? Gamers programmer? I basically have PowerShell, command, git bash. I often get caught in a dilemma. Okay, so you're doing a lot of things. That's pretty fun. I would recommend keeping them all, but really, looking internally and deciding which one works the best for you. Like, which one are you going to the most often? Why are you using 3 different ones? Is it because they all have different profiles set up? Maybe you could be condensing that. I think it's important to try a lot of things, but it seems like that's a lot of things. Sorry. Happy to talk about it more. Anyway, let me show you some more things. I think I've answered a lot of the questions here. I'll just get back into the terminal now, and we can just talk about more commands. So a few things that we've done here. We talked about Control-A, which sends you to Control-A, which sends you to the front of this. I also talked about Control-E, which sends you to the back of it. Control-U, which erases everything on the line. And then I also talked about CD, which takes you to different directories. I talked about ls, which takes you and shows you all of these directories. And we also talked a little bit about tab, where if I do tab and then I type in package, I get like 2 options here. And this is the mini menu that I was telling you about earlier. So when you do cd package and you press tab, in this scenario, we have 2 different files here that start with well, let's start with package. So it can't make the decision automatically for us there. So it'll just provide the 2 options for which one you want to pick on. On Mac on Z Shell, it has a really cool function where if you press tab 2 times, it'll actually create like an interactive menu where you can move your arrow keys to select either the package.json, and it'll highlight it like this, or if you move your arrow key to the right, it'll select the package.json. That's this one, sorry, package-lock.json. And I think that's really cool. On this basic version of Linux that I'm running here, this Git Bash terminal, I don't have any like custom features. This is all very vanilla. So we don't have like those cool extensions, but I just wanted to show you that with tab, it'll like do a little bit of auto completing. And then if I want to select one of the 2 and I still don't want to type it out, it'll just stop at like where the similarities stop, and it'll wait for me to make an input. So I'll just do dot so we can go to the .json. and then we'll do like this. I will say, this command here is kind of like, I imagine, going to not work because I'm trying to change directories into a file, which does not make sense. You change directories into directories. But let's press enter and see if I'm totally wrong or what happens. OK, we get an error. Yeah. So you'll be seeing a lot of error messages when you're a programmer. That's not going to be any different when you're working with the terminal. Bash cd package.json is not a directory. That makes sense. So that is a bit of a wrap up on these things. Going to the next kind of optimization that I think is really useful. I'll have to start by explaining what the clear message does. So if you run clear on any Unix system, it'll clear the screen and just have a terminal at the top of, or it'll have just one simple line like this at the top of your screen, which is really great. If you are using what do they call it? Is it the command prompt in Windows? I think that's the legacy one. And then most likely with PowerShell 2, I use clear almost every time. I do too, Jin. I'll put your comment here. I also use clear every time. I will run a command and then I'll always do clear. It just feels good. It cleanses the soul a little bit. So yeah. So if you do clear a lot, one way to make it a little bit faster, that might be up your alley depending on how your hands are set up on the keyboard, is to do Control L, and that'll just do the same. That'll just mimic the same function as clear. So let me just do that, and I've just cleared everything. Oh, actually, it just cleared everything above. Clear. That's pretty surprising. I thought clear would have just taken off the terminal too, but it looks like Control L just kind of cleans up the screen, but lets your last command still be enterable. So I just learned that. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. That's pretty convenient. Let me hide your comment there about using clear. But yeah, I'm a big fan of clear as well. So we just went over the Control L, which was really useful. And oh, this one is I don't know if everyone in the chat's ready for Control R. I think that might be too advanced for you right now. We might have to come back to that one because I think it's a super cool command. What I'll do instead is talk to you all about the man command. So if you're exploring the world, and by the way, if you're mad at me and you want to know Control R right now, maybe if I get 5 comments or whatever, I can feel the heat from everybody, I will just stop what I'm doing and just talk about Control R. But regardless, I will get to it eventually. Anyway, let's talk about man. So man is not found. OK. Well, I didn't realize that man wasn't downloaded on Git Bash. This clear stuff is, or this vanilla Git Bash is pretty surprising. Man is basically a way to get a manual on any command that you want to run. It's pretty useful and definitely great once you start getting into the weeds of trying to learn things about Java and trying to learn things about Python that are, very in the weeds. But just because we don't have man installed doesn't mean that we can't use it. In fact, I think that could be a really cool segment too. So if we want to download additional items to our, I don't know if items is the right word, but if we want to download additional commands to our terminal, we can spend a little bit of time figuring out how to do that. So let me see how to get this man command downloaded onto my Git Bash system here. All right. Minimal shell environment, recommended alternatives to use the built-in help commands. Yeah, I know you can use the built-in help commands, but I thought it'd be fun to show everyone how to download it. Copy the files, restart. So, wow, they really don't want you to do it? Add the following to your bash profile, create if it's not available. This. Now you can see manual and get an output page. Only works when command supports help. OK. Interesting. OK, on WSL2, it does work, though. Maybe I should have been doing this on that. But man get works on, yeah, all right, on WSL2. Install this. Let's kind of a bit of too much installing, I guess, for me at the moment. Alternatively to man, though, what I would recommend, install mandb package. One second, chat. Let me just look some stuff up here. Don't want to speak lies. If you want to say strictly something, you can install Git and now That's so silly. You can just curl it. That's funny. Could Bash actually have a real package manager? No, it doesn't have. So you see a question here. Does Git Bash actually have a real package manager? From what I'm seeing online, it doesn't actually have its own built-in package manager. It's just an emulation for Windows to run Git commands. So it's a lot more lightweight than I was realizing, or that I guess I ever realized before. But I think if I tried to install it, I'd run into some command not found issues here. So I think I'll move away from this. And to be honest, it's no real big GitHub using VS Code and not CLI you're missing. If you push code to GitHub, let me see this one. If you push code to GitHub using VS Code and not CLI, you're missing. I agree. I do really like using the commands for Git. If you're doing like merge, like requests, PRs, in a big project, it is really nice to kind of like have that PR flow be done on GitHub. But for the actual like daily code editing, committing, and pushing stuff, I really do like doing it on the terminal here, and we will get to that. But since this man command doesn't work on on Git Bash, I'll show you like that you can add parameters to your commands to get additional information. So for instance, with ls, it does show us like the projects, the files and directories we have inside of something here. But there might be more that we can do. So you can usually do --h to get some information, maybe --help. Yeah, and then this will kind of emulate what you would expect some manual command to do, which is usually going to be pretty informative. This is one of the flags that you can add to almost any command to get some additional information. Even when you install things like Kubernetes or other huge different things like the Amazon Web Services CLI, anything that comes from another party or anything that comes like directly installed on your terminal, you can usually add --help to get a lot of context and some additional information. So if we start reading through here, you can see that you can do -a to get all, including the ignored files that start with dots, which will show that in a little bit. You can also color your files. You can classify them. You can also, suppose, group them, human readable. It gets pretty deep, and then you can also like reverse the results if you wanted to for some reason. So yeah, the -help command is pretty useful to give you some ideas on how to like mess with these commands a little bit more. Let's start with that first flag that it suggested, which was -a. So if I do ls -a, I actually get a few more results than I was seeing before. So we have all the ones that we saw originally, which I think started at the README. But now we have these hidden files, which are the ones that start with a dot at the front of them. So we have a getignore file. We have a .get file, which is just additional like information for Git repos. And then we have these two over here, which are pretty interesting. So these are almost like links in like a linked list, you could think about it. These are so that we can go back to the page that we were, and so that we can also stay on the page that we were as well. So the single dot here is just going to keep us in the same directory. So if I did this, we would not be going anywhere. And then I haven't shown you this yet, but if you do cd and then dot dot, what you're doing is you're calling this directory here. But what that does is it takes you one directory level back up. So I'll just do cd dot dot. And now we're back in my home over here. So oops, Control C to close that out. So yeah, now we have now we're back in the root directory here. Let's look at some stuff that we could do with cd. So if we do the same thing, we do cd, and then we add this -- help flag, we should get some information back, which we do. And it gives you a little bit of like a bit of information, tells you that you can change the working directory. And then it also gives you a bit more information that you can add. And then it tells you that if you do -L for specified, it's processed by removing immediately previous path name components back to / for the beginning of directory. If the directory is changed, PW is successfully when -P is used otherwise. OK, so kind of a blob there. But one thing I just wanted to call out here, it actually isn't directly mentioned inside of this. But one thing that I always find really interesting is that if you do cd, this is a big one. I think everyone that's listening would probably really appreciate knowing this one, since it has come in so helpful for me, especially when I'm creating my own bash scripts or different like commands inside of my bash profiles. So if you do cd and then you do the dash, it'll actually take you to whatever directory you were in last before this one. So in this scenario, it'll just take me back to the Yafar web app over here. But if I do it again, it'll take me back to home. So let me just go into Yafar, and then let me go into one of the directories in there. I think there was like a Yafar UI. So now I'm 2 directories deep. We haven't been in this directory before. If I run ls, you can see that there's more information here. If I clear that and just run ls so that it's a little bit less cluttered on the screen, I will now run the cd dash command to take me to a different location. If anyone in the chat feels like they know the answer to this, please add it in. But I would like to know if you're all following along. Do you know where cd dash will take me at this moment? Yeah. So doing cd dash at this moment will not take me. Yeah, it'll take me to the yeah. We got some answers coming in here. It'll take me to the previous location, last directory that I was in. We've got up 2 directories, which is like technically true. Also, yeah, and the last directory I visited, home, right? Yep, exactly. And yes, also you code with June. Thank you all. So let me put this down. Let me go up. And you're all right. No one was wrong. That's amazing. So anyway, I do this, and I go back to my home directory here. One final thing on cd that I absolutely love is that if I am in any directory, so I just went back to this directory, 2 directories in. If I'm in like any directory at all, let's say I go into like this public folder now, and I don't know, I'm working over here, I'm doing stuff, and I want to go back home, the cd dash isn't going to take me there because that's going to take me to Yafar-UI. But if I want to go back home, there's a surefire way that you can always get back to your home directory. It's a very quick command, and all you have to do is just do cd and then press enter. Well, yeah, actually, that's a great one. Quackers and Cheese, that's a great name. I really like your name. I'm going to try to hit the gong because I love your name, and I saw that I could hit the gong, and I really wanted to do it, but now I have a reason to do it. So maybe turn down your volume if you, well, I'll just turn down the volume so that it's not loud for anyone. So I've got it down here, and I'm going to hit the gong. Nice. I thought that was going to be more of like a ding, well, I just really liked your name, so I wanted to hit the gong. Thanks. But I'll put that down. And yeah, Quackers and Cheese is technically right. You could do CD and then slash to take you to the home directory, which is great. But an alternative, the Gong Show, an alternative to CD and then slash is just typing CD by itself. And when you do that, it'll take you back to the home directory as well. I love doing that command. It's always so useful and so helpful. And yeah, I think that that's usually a really fun place to come back to, especially when you're working. Ooh, what if CD tilde? So let's go back here and see. So now we're very far away from home. And if we do CD tilde, we will go back home. Let's go back here and test Quacker's theory. If I do this and then do this. Uh-oh. Gamer Kelly here says that when they did the cd slash command, it said no file or directory. Actually, this is a different issue, Gamer Kelly. So when you did that, you might have not done a space in between. And the reason that it said no such file or directory, it seems to me, is because the cd slash maybe did like an escaped character, and that just failed since it didn't exist. But yeah, the point I do want to make that I just realized is that when you do cd space slash, you're not going back to the home directory. So Quackers and Cheese, I was taken away by your incredible name and your funny, cute little duck face. And I did not realize that you were actually incorrect. What's going on here, Code with June? So yeah, I do want to put what we have here that Shivem had posted here. So when you do cd backslash, you actually go to the root directory, not the home directory, which is a really important call out. In the root directory, you usually don't want to touch anything in here. It's not exactly like a user-friendly place to be. This is more of like internal administrative kind of stuff. But if we want to get back to our home from here, we can look around. So I did CD and then CMD. That didn't really take me where I wanted to go. If I do CD bin, I have a lot of options here. Yeah, I don't want to look inside of bin, although if memory serves right, it might actually be there. But let's do CD user, see if anything comes up. And then we have bin as well. And you know what? I'm feeling too far away from home, just too far away from home. So let me just do CD, get back home. I'm with you, Quackers. I also want to go home. And now I think that that's a really interesting kind of concept. Like, how do we go from the root directory to our home? We're not really seeing that same path here that we saw up here with the the slashes and the names of the directories and everything. So there is a way for us to get the specific information of where we are, and that's by using a new command that we haven't talked about yet called pwd, which takes you to your working directory. I think you also have where am I, or that's not right. Is it who am I? Who am I is actually another command here. So now that we do pwd, we can see that from root, you go to C, and then users, and then how F. I don't remember seeing C, actually, when we were in the root directory. So let's just ls and see if it does pop up there. No, I'm not seeing it. What if I do ls-a? Also not seeing it there. And I think this is a complexity of the Windows operating system and then the Git Bash operating system. I think there's like an additional level of complexity that's not really coming back to me right now on where it is exactly. Root directories. So I can get back on that answer in a second, actually. I just feel so curious. I really want to find it, but we'll find it later. Just clear this, go back to home, and let's take a break here because I'm seeing that there's a lot of unread comments that everyone is chatting about. So let's Maybe we can like start the Star Wars movie and jump to like a random scene while I read all of your comments. SSH. I think this took me to Star Wars last time, right? Probably not, I guess. Okay. Well, let's just wait a second here. Just close out of that. And can't think of anything like really fun just to have like the terminal do right now while I read your comments, but I do really want to read your comments, so I'm just going to take a second and pause. All right, everyone. Just manual, which you can go through previous locations. Okay, so let me hide this comment from you. And yeah, that was true. Oh, I'm gone deep in root, I guess. Yes. And then, did we talk about PWD? Sorry if I missed it. Oh, totally fine, Jin. We literally just talked about PWD, and I think you were here for it. So great call out. Sorry, I wasn't here. Show the difference between root and the home directory. Yeah, great call. So to make a little bit of an extra point here between root and the home directory. So the home directory is everything. When you sign into a computer, maybe if it's a family computer, you have your name and your mom's name or a family member's name. When you go into your account, you are in your home directory. And at that point, you have your desktop and everything. And that's what the GUI, the graphical user interface, is showing you. And then the home directory is just like the bash version of that. When you go to the root directory, it's going into like the more administrative things, the more kind of technical things of just like the computer, which is a layer higher or lower, depending on how you think about it. But it's just like a more, it's closer to like the BIOS and the binaries. So it's for more of like the technical things. And then we have Gamers Programmer back here making another comment talking about the root directory is the last possible file in a folder. I do kind of want to test that real quick. I think that's a fun thought. So I just went to the root. I just did ls. Let me do ls-a to see all of the files. And I mean, I see that you can go a directory further back. Let's try it. All right, looks like it just kind of loops forever. So no big deal. And you're right. Gamers Programmer, you are right. So great job. And please remove the overlay. Root is where as that. Please remove the. I hope, Gene, I hope I've removed the overlay. I'm not too sure if I have. I hope so. Add/c works. cd/c works. Interesting. cd/c works. Zuby, another great name, says that cd/c works. I wonder if that's just not going to work on my machine here. Oh, why did it work? Okay. And then from here, I guess I could go to user. And then from here, I can go to HowGef, which is my user. And now I'm home. Oh my God. Yay. Happy face. That's so strange that when I did this and then I did ls, or I guess even when I did cdc, it worked. Wait, am I blind? Where is it? What? If I do -a? Oh, that's the wrong one now. Okay, I'll have to read that later. But yeah, it actually did work. So thank you for that, Zuby. PWD shows the current directory path. Very good point. All that. What exactly do you use them for? I get the commands and all that, but what exactly do you... Oh, interesting. Kind of coming in with an interesting question here, Kelly. I tried opening a file, but that doesn't work. I get commands and all that, but what exactly do you use them for? Essentially, you do just use them to speed up your development flow. There's a lot of things that you can do, like creating an entire app from just the terminal, creating automated aliases and functions inside of your bash script, which I'll talk about later, to also speed up a lot of it, and kind of like customize your projects a little bit more. And I'll talk about that in a bit. Let me just see if I've missed any other comments. I was told never to use the command rm RF on Linux. Yeah, if you don't know any command, I recommend never just pasting it into your terminal. I don't know if you all remember like the jokes of like deleting system32 and things like that and crashing your computer, but that is, a case of people just blindly trusting others, not just online, but anywhere. So yeah, I definitely would recommend never to just paste anything in, but I will show this for educational purposes here. So eight tickles. You all have great names. Eight tickles here says never to run this command here. It is a great idea never to run that command here. Essentially, what would be happening if you did this, and I hope I don't click enter. If you did this, you would be removing, which is what the RM is, in a recursive fashion from the home directory. So you would be just removing everything from your entire computer. Hopefully there's something that would stop that, but I wouldn't really want to risk it. And yeah, Quackers is right here. Don't do it. Any thought on Bash versus Z Shell? Personally, I'm a very big fan of Z Shell. I think it's very pretty, and it has like an extra layer of customization that I love. I just have like a MacBook Air, so I didn't really want to use it for all of the streaming purposes today, and that's why we're dealing with like the vanilla Git Bash terminal here, which is even worse than WSL, which we've learned today. So I'm pro WSL. Oh, okay, great question here. This person, Gamers Programmer, is an IT major and using the CLI for networking. That is definitely huge. As you get into this career, regardless of if you are doing networking or software development, you will be doing a lot of SSHing into different boxes, running different programs, testing them, parsing through different lines and like output files. And I think that's all very interesting. CD sleeves changing, there's no. Let me see if there's anything else. I could use the CNN interface. I guess this is not really the bash GD command. Just blindly trusting the CD /. I usually do some research before. Yes, I did just blindly trust this CD/C command, and then I went into like a whole rant about how you should not just trust other people's suggestions. The reason that I blindly trusted this is because I'm familiar with the CD command enough to know, I guess, like maybe there's like a matrix in my brain of like four corners where one is like how well do I know something, and the other is what am I doing, and then the other element of it is like how risky it is. I'm pretty familiar with CD. I'm very familiar with the fact that it wouldn't do anything malicious to my system or bring anything from another system into my system. So I was very comfortable just running something like this to see if it worked, to answer your question there, gamers. With that said, I am going to transition to talking about some additional useful bits of information, useful tricks that you can do when running different programs. Some different things like tailing files that are like streaming data, which I find really useful. I'll also be talking about piping outputs to have like a program that you're running, pipe all of its output into like a text file so that you can read all of the output or Control F inside of that or search later on. I'll also show you how to do cats, how to echo, and a few other things. But I just want to give everyone 5 minutes to get some water. Honestly, I do need to get some water, maybe run to the restroom. So we can do the next session starting at 4 p.m. So I'll give everyone 4 minutes, and I'll play some music, and I will be right back. Thank you all for your patience, and your help, and your enthusiasm. And yeah, I'll be right back. Hey. Hi, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Hopefully you went out and got some fresh air, drank some water, or just played with some of the terminal yourselves. It's great to be back here, and I'm excited for the next part of CLI 101, where I will be showing you a little bit more of the world of customizations and also how to use the terminal in a day-to-day kind of aspect. So let's just go back to home. That was pretty fun. Just like even just using CD and LS, I feel like we could cover like an hour. I mean, who doesn't enjoy just snooping on someone else's computer, right? So let's see. Oh, hi, June. Thanks for the wave. It's very cute. I see some great chat in the chat talking about something called Pop OS, which I haven't really heard about before. So I'm curious to look it up and see what's going on. It is kind of cute. Pop OS, for anyone that doesn't know and is curious too, is a free Linux distribution that features like a more cosmetic kind of look to the traditional terminal, which is kind of cool. Haven't used it myself before, but yeah, on the side of just trying things out, it's another interesting aspect. Maybe it is worth kind of playing around with one day, and we can do like a Pop OS kind of chat as well. So yeah, thanks for bringing up the Pop OS stuff to me, and thank you all for chatting about it in the chat too. Really interesting stuff going on there about like how apparently the OS isn't scalable and things like that, or it has scaling issues. Very cool. Okay, so let's get into this a little bit more here. So clear that. Let me gather my thoughts here. Let me see what I want to talk about. Okay, yeah. So let's do some things where you can actually like interact with the file system and not just like use this as a sort of traveler or like explorer of your code, but also a bit of like an engineer and actually working on projects here. So one of the first really cool commands that I learned that I used a lot, especially if I'm like working at my job and I just need to like have like some test output and I don't really know where to put it or anything. I'll go into like I don't even have a temp directory, even better. I'll be in my home directory and I'll run mkdir. So let's just do help here to see what it talks about. And what mkdir does is it just creates directories, which is super useful and really fun for actually like developing projects here. So say we wanted to develop something like that Yayfar app that I was showing you earlier, we could like get a little bit crazier with it too and do what we can do is run mkdir, and then we can run the -p command so that if there are any errors, we can just exit out of it. And then we can have our app be called my app. And then we could create some directories inside of it. But an additional really cool thing that you can do inside of Bash is actually create curly braces to have like parallel processing in a way. So we can have like the front end get created. And then we can also have like a source file inside of that one. And then just with a comma, we can split up the files. And then we can run backend, and then also have like a source directory get created inside of there. And then let's press enter here. And then let's cd into that app. So cd into my -app. I press the tab to autocomplete the word there. And then let's ls. And you can see that I created both the backend and the front end directories in one command rather than just doing mkdir front end and pressing enter, mkdir backend, and then pressing enter, which I think is really fun. So you can create multiple directories just by adding the slashes, and then you can create multiple directories on the same level by adding curly braces too. If we did this in VS Code and we wanted to create this project structure, that would probably be like six or 9 clicks just to create the app and then all of these different things, including also opening up VS Code, which would have been a little bit of a surprise. So we've created like the directories here. I think mkdir is super useful. Let me just pop over to StreamYard, see if anyone has any comments about it. Anyone watching me do things? I spelled front end wrong? Oh, no. OK, well, now we're going to have to do a crash course. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Married to the Game. Another great name. Let's hit the gong. Also, the gong will remind me. It will not locate the file. Anyway, let me show you another neat trick. So another really useful command that I've been using is cp. What this does is it changes where a file is, but you can also use cp to change the name of directories. So let me go to front end here. So let me just do cp, and then let me do the front end that I spelled incorrectly, front end, and then let me do front end. And let me do that. And OK, omitting directory -r not specified. What happened there? Maybe I need to like specify that I want it in this current directory. -r not specified. So what is the r? My cat is meowing too. They don't even specify it here. Let me see real quick. If you change directory name in -mix. I would imagine it'd be with the cp command. Oh, excuse me. It's a directory, so we have to move. So we actually have a different command for that. So cp copies one file to another one, but move, I believe move is what we can use to. And I guess that makes sense because the -r command wasn't there, which would probably have been like recursive, right? So let me do move help, and let me just read what this is before I do anything. It lets you rename one source to a destination. So this could also be for like moving a folder to a different destination if you wanted to do something like that. Or if you just wanted to rename it in the same directory, imagine you can just do the / to reference that you want to stay in this directory that you're working on, do front end, and then hopefully this will just work. And fingers crossed, that looks, oh, and look, I spelled backend wrong too. OK, well, let's do this again. Now for backend. So backed, we want to change that to backend. And then do that, ls. And now we have our 2 folders correctly named. So move is pretty useful too. I have to be honest, I think in this situation, I probably would not have, if I wasn't trying to do everything in the terminal, have done this in the terminal. I probably would have just opened up File Explorer and right-clicked to change it. But it can be done through MV. So thanks for calling that out. Stands for recursive. The source needs to be copied as well. Yeah. So just calling this out here. The R does stand for recursive. And like I had mentioned earlier, like the fact that we had like the source file or the source folder in there blocked us from being able to run like the cp command. But I guess I do imagine like if you ran it with the -r, it probably would have worked as like an additional flag. Thanks, Quackers. Changed a mistake into a lesson. Yeah, well, I couldn't have done it with Miss Married to the Game over here and their sharp eyes. And I'm sure a lot of you also probably have the sharp eyes there too. So let's see. So I created these 2 folders here. I don't think I'm going to like create a React project or anything here. But let's just go to the front end. Let's go to the source here, and let's just make something really simple. I did clear just to remove everything. And let's just create a file. So you can create a file just by using touch, if you didn't know that. So we have touch, and then we can just call this like main.html or whatever people say. They say index.html. That's what it is, index.html. So just by running touch, you can create a file. And with that, we can actually go into it. So I'm about to reference like something that is like some people's entire personalities, which is Vim. Vim is a text editor that is directly inside of your computer. It's on most machines. Usually VI is what's installed on most machines. Vim is like the elevated version of it that gives you a lot more features, bells and whistles, and also customizations. It's incredible. It's amazing. People that program with it on the daily are very impressive, in my opinion, and they love what they do. They really love what they do. I wish I could be that person. I tried to get like the Vim commands really going down, but I've just kind of like defaulted to VS Code, and it's been good enough for me for a long time. But I guess it is very worth it if you wanted to get into the world of Vim. Maybe we could even do like a Vim 101 where I learn about it too. That could be really fun. But it'd probably be more of like a Vim 0.0.0, since I wouldn't really be teaching. I guess kind of would be teaching through doing. Anyway, Vim is a text editor. It's really awesome. There's another one that people use, which is Nano. Also, it's a lot more user-friendly, I would say. Like a lot of things that are obvious in other text editors are done the same way on Nano. For instance, with Nano, you can, so I'll just open it up real quick. I just opened up the file that I was just talking about earlier. It's a blank file here, but you can see like a lot of the same things that you would be doing on like VS Code or any of your other kind of things, like text editors, IDEs, not things, can be done the same through Nano. So Control S would be for saving, Control X would be for exit. But the difference is that when I run Nano, I don't have to like enter an insert mode, which is what Vim does. I'm just immediately in like a regular text editor kind of state. So I can write like, hello world, you know, and then I can do Control S, and then that saves it, saves the file, and then I can do Control X to exit it. You can also do Control C, which we talked about at the start of the class here, which would just cancel whatever program you're running in. So with Vim, you can go and also do the exact same thing that I showed you. I'm going to open up this file with Vim now. It should have the hello world inside of it. That shouldn't be too much of a surprise to anyone. But you can see it already looks like a lot more aggressive. Like they're not holding your hand anywhere. They're like, this is what time it is, and that's all you need to know. Like it's not very user-friendly out of the box, but you can find some very beautiful like Vim builds out there, which are really cool. Additionally, with Vim, you know, like you can see my cursor here. Like if I wanted to add something to this, like say I wanted to type like another space, nothing happens. It's so frustrating. Like it just moves me to the next text. And it's just because like I'm in like a select mode right now. What I have to do is press I so that I can go into insert mode. And once I'm in insert mode, you see it gets highlighted down here. I can add the extra space, and I can just kind of like do that. And then I have to press escape to go back to the select mode. And then to save, it's not even fun. It's not even Control S. It's colon, and then W for save, and then Q for quit. So you do that together, and then it kind of ends it. I will probably be going into Vim, since that's how I'm just used to, like, my hands are used to like editing files with Vim. But Nano is super valid. I see another question here talking about Emacs. I am not an Emacs person. I've never actually even ran Emacs. Can I do this? Can I do this? OK. Yeah, I'm not an Emacs person. I don't even know how to run it, or even if it's in here. But Emacs also seems pretty cool too. It's a lot of these like very like lightweight text editors that people love. One additional thing that I think is really cool about Vim is that you don't have to like Vim into a file. You can actually just like enter Vim mode on your whole terminal. And this like lets you, that's not even that cute. Get me out of here. I guess you can do Vim period. And then it'll actually like let you navigate your terminal, which is really fun. So you can feel kind of like a Vim person. And this stuff's really great. Oh, OK. Bye, Jim. It was great. Thank you for being here. I hope that we can teach you something later. And Vim. Oh, my gosh. We got, here's another one. We got NeoVim. I forgot about NeoVim. Yeah. People, you can get really lost in the sauce with Vim. It's in my opinion, kind of incredible. It's really cool. And it just shows like how great the terminal is. But anyway, like with Vim itself, like you can actually go and just like be messing around with like your directories too, and then like go into a, I guess we're in the front end. You can go into the file like here, and then just go like Command or : Q, and then you're kind of just out, which is really cool. And I will like kind of just like highlight this. I think VS Code is really cool too, and it just works. And I do love how they have like the terminal at the bottom so that you can kind of like juggle the two. And that's actually like my go-to at my job and everything. That's what I usually do. But for here, I just wanted to try to do everything as much as I could in the terminal. So I've been yapping a lot. I have created this hello world here. Let's close out of this. Oh, I'll show you the next thing that you can do. If you're not familiar with this, if you have an HTML file and you want to open it, you don't have to like go to your folder and find the working directory and double click it. You can actually just do open, and it'll actually open it onto like Chrome. So if I do open index.html, it doesn't work. That only worked on Mac. Oh, that's so frustrating. All of these things do different things. That's a bummer that it didn't work. Is there like a default command on Linux or on Bash? What is this? Git bash default command to open HTML file. And I wonder if it'll have like a problem because we're like in like the subsystem too. Oh, they like start. That's interesting. Will it work? All right, it wants to open up in Chrome. And I just realized I'm not sharing my screen anyway, so I can't actually show you what it looks like. But it, I guess, how could I show you? Well, you don't have, I mean, I don't know if anyone actually wants to know this. It just says hello world. But it did open it up. So if you are on Bash, do start. If you are on a Mac, do open, and then like the HTML file. And that will, that'll open it up for you. Yeah. So start on Bash, and then that'll get you to the HTML file. Let me see some other things that I wanted to kind of go into here. Another thing, creating system links. Another thing before we get into the Bash world. Oh, I wanted to show you like the tail stuff. So let's say we have, let me just download like some more Epson. Oh, you know, I don't have to do Lorem Epson. I can just show you like my other apps. So let's go home. Let's go to the AFAR. Let's do ls. Let's just go to the UI. I guess I don't even know what's inside of index.js. Let's go into source, see what's in there. This is an old project. OK, then we have like app and stuff. If you wanted to, you could do nano app.js to see NAMO, finding NAMO. You can do nano, and then you'll get like a bunch of the code here. You can scroll up and down. You can also search inside of it. But let's get out of there. No, do not save anything I typed in there. But you can also like not jump out of the terminal if you wanted to output like a message that you have. Maybe it's not an actual like file or like a code file, but it's actually like a curl command response. You can do cat to just output all of the text here to your screen. You can also do less to do the same thing. So if we did this and this, you'll get like the same information, but you can, I guess, just close out of it. Less seems to be a little bit more like nano. But one thing that I really wanted to show you that I like is the tail command and the head command. So if you do tail and then an app.js, you'll get the same information. You'll get like the last, I think by default, like the last 10 lines. Let me just do this. Usage, what are the, OK, prints the last 10 by default. Yeah, so it just prints the last 10 lines by default. But actually, like if you're working in networking or if you're working on an application and you want to like monitor like the logs of a server and you don't have any tools like Splunk or CloudWatch or Datadog or anything to just kind of like observe those, a really cool trick that you can do is like SSH into your box. And then you can run the tail command here. So yeah, oh, this is going to be great. Let me show you this. So I'm going to have to open 2 terminals. You're only going to be able to see one, but it should still be a really cool effect here. So in the first terminal, I'm going to create a new file. Let's go to that like new thing, my app that I made earlier. like it's not really backend, but I guess you can call it backend. Now we're in the backend here, and we want to create like a new server. So we'll like go server.log, and this is just like logging information from like a fictional server here. And now that it exists, I'm going to run this tail command with the -f flag, which actually keeps this window open and actually streams the information. The -f stands for following. So it'll just be printing out like the last couple of messages if that file does get uploaded. So you can imagine on like a server, it'll be getting HTTP requests from all over the world, all throughout the day. And you want to be monitoring those for if anyone gets like an error response back or the server has an error. This would be really useful. So we'll just do tail with the following flag on the server.log file that I just created. And nothing's really here right now. But what I'm going to do is open up a second terminal, which you won't be able to see, but I think the magic's going to be on the terminal that you're currently watching. And what I'm going to do is run a command that actually writes information to that server.log file, not by opening up Nano, but by running something called echo on it. So let me just go over there and run this. Backend source, and I am there. And now I'm going to run echo, and I'm just going to say, image is so cool. And I'm going to pipe that information to server.log. And when I click enter on this terminal on the right, which you can't see, but it's just sending a message and writing it to the server.log file, it will show up on the left here because the tail is actively streaming information to your terminal. So let me run it. And now you see MLH is so cool kind of pops up over here. So I could run another one, and it will just kind of like continue like that. And it's super neat. And you can see, I imagine, see, I just said, yay. I imagine that this is cool to you. I think it's really cool. And it's kind of like almost like one of the most like simple ways that you can monitor your application's health without like installing all of this like proprietary software that like says that it'll like do it all for you. Like you can literally just have like a tail command running on a box, and you can just have like a Lambda function get triggered every time a certain message comes in that says error, that like restarts the box or something. I think the tail command is really awesome, and that was one of the things that I think was like I was the most excited to show that today. So I'm just gonna go and check the comments, see if anyone has any input or praise or whatever. Yeah, finding Nano out of nowhere. Yeah, okay. So the tail command I think is really neat and really fun. So I just want to let that sit there, and I will go on to the next topic here. Oh, gosh. Oh, geez. So let's see. Going on from this tail command here, I'm going to close out of this second terminal that I had open. And I'm going to close out of like the tail command, like I was just saying. Close that, clear this, and I will now move on. So from there, I think we should probably see what I did on the other terminal there too. So one thing you can do when you have a file is that you can actually pipe information from a website to that file. Oops. Piping is basically like having additional, it's almost like step functions. You can have like additional bits of information done after like the initial command is captured. There's a few different types of pipes. When you have arrows like this, what it does is it actually like writes messages to like a file. So let's see if I have this echo command here. No, it's not there. That's okay. I have it here though. I'll just copy it from up here in the other terminal. So this was the command that I was running to actually write the like new user logged in or whatever kind of information we had here into the server.log. And this right here is the pipe. So you have one command, which is echo.mlh, and then the pipe command right here has like a parameter, which is where do you want to send that information to. And what this pipe is here with the two dashes is it appends to the end of the file. If you do just one dash, it'll just overwrite whatever's on the server.log file and just echo MLH to it. So we'll just append it. And when I write this, we should see like another line on the server.log now. So what I'll do is I'll do cat server.log. And yeah, you can see MLH is there. Just to verify what I'm saying, I'm going to see if this does overwrite it. So I'll just do the one dash or the one caret, and I'll cat. And yeah, so I overwrote everything from before. So this is really interesting when you're like writing an application and you want to be debugging things. Like if you are working in a Java project or any project and you have unit tests, sometimes those unit tests break, but the project is hundreds of files large, and you can't tell which unit tests broke immediately. There's a few different ways that you can kind of get to the bottom of that. You could do what I just showed here, where you run your commands. Like maybe it's like, if you know what a make file is, you can do make unit tests. And then you can just do like these carets here to server.log. And then it'll run the unit tests, and it'll just write everything out to server.log so that it doesn't like get consumed by the void that is your terminal. And then you can reference all of that information, open it up, and just do like a fuzzy search there, or Control F. Additionally, what you can do, another pipe that I think is really interesting is like where the pipe gets its name from, like this pipe. Let me see if I can get a better name for what that pipe is. But what this pipe does is that it kind of works sort of like an and statement. This one basically takes like whatever the content is of like your first command and applies it to whatever your next command is. So a really useful thing here is like if you, OK, before I get into that, I need to tell you about grep. So grep is a way that you can search content inside of a file from the terminal. So if we just go to help again, we can get its exact definition here. And it'll say search for patterns inside a file. So it works a little bit like regex. And you can see like in this example here, there's like a C file main, and it's looking to see if hello world's inside of it. And you can get very complicated with your regex statements too, which is great. But for an example here, grep usually goes hand in hand with this pipe statement. I usually I would imagine like 80 to 90% of all like pipe commands that have this have grep at the end of it. So let's try to see if we can find that MLH that I commented in the server.log. So let's do echo, and this one won't be MLH. It'll just say yay. And then we'll do the pipe so that, actually, I guess I'd want to do this. And then I'd want to do server.log so that I can add the information in. And I wonder if this pipe like that is going to work. So I'm doing like 3 commands now. But then if I do grep, and then let's look at the example again. Do I need parameters? OK, it looks like I do. -I, and then I'll do MLH. So this isn't that great, but if like I used like the term error and there was like a few lines that said error, those would be the ones that are returned. I think in this situation, if all goes well, just the MLH line is going to be returned. So let's see what happens. Oh, what? What happened? Yeah. Server.log grep. Let's just like erase this. Maybe I did too many things. Server.log command. Yeah, I mean, this isn't really command. I guess I didn't really need to pipe it. I could have just searched if that was in there. But why did the writing to this didn't actually? I mean, let's just see. I guess we can just grep, do this grep command again, erase this part here, and then if I run grep on the server.log and I search for yay, we can see if yay was written there. OK, so yay wasn't written there. And just to confirm, we'll just open up nano, and we'll go to server.log, and it only says MLH. Yeah, so whatever the reason is, this command here did not write to server log before it went into the grep statement. Let me just see if there's any comments. How did you search the command on terminal? Let me just stop there, since I feel like I kind of went over the pipes and also the grep statement. I see a comment here from Shib also talking about how did you search the command on terminal? So when I was doing this, you mean? No? Or is it when I was looking how to run the tail command with -F maybe? Probably shouldn't have stopped the stream for that one because I don't really know exactly what the reference is there. But just to move on with a little bit more information here, I want to show one more cool thing before I go into the, oh, dang, Control R. OK, June. OK, June. That is how I searched it. Yes. OK. Yes. Fair. You are, come on. Come on. You guess. You guess. Round of applause. Thank you for bringing that back to me. Let's talk about Control R. Control R, fantastic, fantastic bit of code here. It's almost as useful to me as doing Command A to get to the front or Command E, Command U. So when you do Control R, you are doing a reverse search on every command that you've ever ran. It almost works similarly to how when you run help, or sorry, when you run history. I didn't show you this, but when you run history, you can see every command that you've ran. And you could do this, and then you can like look and see where like you ran it before in the past. But if you are paying attention to CLI 101, you'll learn about Control R, which does a reverse search, and it'll help you actually search for that previous command that you wrote if you know a little bit of like what you're searching for. So like if I want to remember like what the Star Wars one was, it's not even like the first letter. It's like any part of it. So let's see if we can find anything. So like I'll do SSH. So there's SSH telhack, but I don't like that one. I want to go to the one that's above that. So I'll do Control R so that I can see the next instance of where I wrote SSH since before I wrote SSH telhack. And then it'll just go through all of my history to show me which ones I've ran. So I guess I've only ran SSH telhack on this box. So that's not that interesting. What would another one be? Maybe like the cats are pretty interesting. So if I do cat, this command had the word cat in it. What the heck? That cat would have been in way more places. Yeah, I mean, I see. If I do C, I see clear. And then I do Control R to go to echo. And then I do cat. So these are all like the lines that have like the letter C inside of them. But if I did cat, it just kind of like didn't really like cat. So let me just do this, Command C, so that I can get out of like the Control R programming. If I do that again and do cat, then I can do the Control R's to see all of the different cats that I've done like throughout our call here. And the last one that I did was, or the first one technically I did was just do like the app.js cat. So let me close out of that. Let me clear this. And that is Control R, which I think is like severely underrated as like one of the most interesting commands you can do. Yeah, and then yeah, this is what you were talking about, Shiv. Yeah, so it's Control R, super useful. I highly recommend using that one if you are finding yourself running a lot of commands that you want to run in other instances. So everyone, you've been very patient. I'm going to give you like the most interesting bits of this now. Thank you all for being here with me today. So Control R is really, really cool. Look at this. Woo! Yeah, I love it. It's like my favorite command. I swear I use it every day. But what I want to show now is what is called a bash profile. If you're on a Mac machine, it would be your Z shell profile. It's a bash RC, and I don't know what RC stands for, but what it is it's a location where you can customize your terminal and actually make it more yourself. And I'm not talking customize like changing the colors. I'm talking customize like you find yourself running git status every day, multiple times a day. Like you're sitting here. OK, let's go back to my EAFAR app because that one's on Git. And I'm sitting here. I'm doing git status. All right, it's taking a long time. And I also just kind of ruined the surprise thing. But we don't need this, but I guess I'll just let it refresh the index. Great, look at all that stuff. It doesn't matter. But you're running git status multiple times a day. And it would be better if you could just run like a 2-letter command to get the same output out. And that's where the bash profile comes into play. The bash RC, the Z shell RC for those on Mac as well. So from your home directory, you'll want to open up, like with nano maybe, bash RC. I created this before the call because I learned that git bash doesn't give you the bash RC by default. You have to actually create it yourself. On Macs, you get it by default with the Z shell file. And then on Windows Subsystem for Linux, that also probably just gives it to you by default, since that's more of like an integrated kind of terminal development thing and not just like a Git, I don't even know, supporter like Git bash seems to be. But I'll open up my nano bash RC, which I created before this call. And you'll see that I added a few commands here. So I created some Git aliases. I created some language aliases. So instead of running Python 3 all the time, I can just run Py. Instead of running Python 3, setting up your virtual environment, I just run venv. There's some Java commands that I run. There's also some Node commands if you're more of like a Node engineer. And then there's some like kind of like quality of life ones that are really useful. Like if you go to a specific project a lot when you open up your terminal, you don't have to like do cd and then git and then the name of the project. You can just create an alias that you can just call like banana. And whenever you type in the word banana, it'll take you to that directory. There's another alias here I have just for like history, just to like pull up the history with an H, which is super useful too. And I will share this all with you at the end of the stream as well, if you find this all useful. So when you create one of these, you can do the same thing where you do Control S and then Control X, but it doesn't work right away. So if I do GS, which is one of those that I showed, it'll say that the GS command was not found. And that's because you need to source your terminal. Sort of think of it as refreshing your terminal. So you could just close out of it and open up a new one. But if you don't want to do that, you can actually just run a source command, which will source the changes from your bash RC file onto your terminal session. And then you can run those commands. So I'll show that to you now. When you make a change to your bash RC or Z shell RC file, you want to run source. What? OK, I guess this is a different window, so I don't have source. So you want to run source, and then you'll want to I'm already in the home directory, so I don't really need to do this, but I'll just do the // and then I'll do the name of the file, which is bash RC. And then that sourced it. So now when I do GS, it should give me like a complaint about Git. Yeah, see, it says that this is not like an appropriate repository. But now if I go back to that EAFAR app, you can see that instead of doing git status all the time, I can do GS, which is really great. I can do GA period, which is get add. So also, I think, so yeah. So you can do GA period. So this is just get add, which is what it was. So it's just get add. And then I just have like period at the end of it to just add everything. OK, invalid arguments. That's interesting. Probably for a different reason. But I do get status, and none of that got committed. See if get add actually works. Yeah, same error if I do get add. So you can see that it's actually just doing get add. But then I also have get commit, which I do a lot. So these are like the 3 that I use almost every single day. GC, GA. I also have GL for get pull. And then I also have, if I want to clone a repo, I do GCL, and then I just paste like the GitHub repository in there, and it downloads it. The Git ones are super useful. At my job, I also have some for Kubernetes. I also have some for Docker. But on this, I just set up like some very simple ones just to show what conceptually you could be doing there. So let me just pull that up real quick one more time. That is your .bash RC. And let me paste these Git alias ones into the chat, because I mean, I find them to be just like extremely useful. And you can like kind of see how this kind of starts building out like all of your terminal to be like this thing that you are like almost like one with. And it's extremely like you can kind of hit a flow state with it. It very much like lines up with whatever your interests are, whatever you're doing. Like at my previous role, I was doing a lot of Java stuff. I was running like all these Maven commands, and we had projects in Gradle, and we were doing all these different builds. And I created like an alias that would see if you were in a Maven or a Gradle project, and then once it had that information, it would run the appropriate build command for it, which is really useful and really just sped up development for me. I also, had a lot of these aliases to just get to different places inside of my terminal a lot easier, which has also been really great. And then if you're like a Node developer, you might have other ones specifically for Node, or even just like other quality of life things if you just want to like run unique commands on your terminal. I really, really love the bash RC, and I think this is like what really kind of like unlocks a lot of your skill set and kind of like next levels you into like being a little bit more comfortable with your terminal, as well as actually programming faster on it. Aside from like those default commands that I showed you too, like Control R, Control A, Control E, the bash RC I think is really useful. So that was like the really big thing I wanted to show, and I'm glad to kind of like talk a little bit more. But I just wanted to show like some kind of interesting stuff similar to that Star Wars concept that I showed you earlier. So let me just copy a command that I had earlier here. What this does is start this by run this command, and then the other command on this. So I just want to show you like how I made a claim earlier where you could essentially be like, you could essentially do anything that you do on your computer, whether it's like play video games, go on Facebook.com, or anything like that. You can do it straight from the terminal, which I think is really powerful and kind of like opens your mind. What I'm trying to get at is that like a lot of the times we have engineers creating full stack applications for everything. And you don't necessarily need to be doing that. Like you could create a backend application and have like the entire thing be served from the terminal. And I think that's really cool. And it kind of gives a hacker vibe, and it kind of like takes down the load on like an engineer, especially if you're a backend engineer and you want to like do like data analysis. Maybe you want to create like a stock trading algorithm or something. You can get a lot of value out of a product that you're making just from like the data and conceptual side, like the insights. You don't need to have it be shiny and pretty. The minute like you move it to HTML though, there's like this whole new world of expectations where they're like, well, why is that div not centered? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is like this a plain white HTML screen? Why is this not like a 3D rendered application? And you can kind of like cut all of that BS out and just focus on the product that you want to by creating whatever you want to make through the terminal here, and just have it be like a lot more of just like a classic kind of like terminal experience. But you can still create a ton of value, which I think is really cool and something I kind of want to like work more towards in the new year, personally. So with that all said, I want to do one like last thing. Or like, I guess I have a few last things I want to do, but let's just go to my app again. And honestly, like none of this, like, I guess let's just go to backends. Since I made the folders, I might as well use them, right? So we are, come on. Okay, we are in the source now. We have the server.js, but I want to make a new one, and I want to call it wiki.log. And what did I just do? No, that's good. Yeah. Just get me out of here. Just get me out of here. Okay. Whoops. Touch wiki.log. So I have this wiki.log file, and I'm going to do a really similar thing to what I did before, where I'm going to tail like all of the information that's coming from that wiki.log file. And now I'm going to open up, I guess I'll show you the command that I'm going to run on the other terminal, just so you have like a little bit of context. But essentially, I'm going to run this curl command here. And what this curl command does is it acts as like an HTTP request. Like when you run a curl command, you are making like any kind of interaction that you do on every web page ever can basically be emulated by a curl command. Like I'm pretty sure I can even run like curl google.com. And it'll give me like the HTML for Google or or maybe Google has like a little bit more of like it's a very minimalist UI, I've got to say. I'm quite surprised. And it'll give you just like all the HTML of what Google kind of could be, or Facebook or anything. It just like pulls in the web data. And what I want to show here is how you can get like really great live data too. So with this curl command that I'm going to run, okay, I guess I copied that. I didn't realize. With this curl command that I'm going to be running, what it does is it actually takes all of the recent changes that have been posted on Wikipedia and streams it to my terminal. But what I want to do with it is maybe theoretically perform like analytics on it and get like an idea of like what the most frequently changed Wikipedia pages are, or what users are changing Wikipedia articles the most. And what I can do is capture this recent change information into a wiki.log file, and I can perform that analysis. What I think is kind of cool, though, is that you can also have the you can also just like tail the information here, which I think is fun. So tail-f wiki log shouldn't have anything, but I create like a second window. You've seen this before, although you haven't, because I'm never sharing the second screen. And I'm going to paste the command to get that curl information. So backend source ls, and then there's wiki.log, and now I'm going to paste the curl command, and I'm going to have the information get piped to the wiki.log, or the information appended to wiki.log. And when I run that, you can see that now we're getting a ton of information getting written to that file, but we're also seeing it right now with that tail command. So this is a few of the different concepts that we learned today all together. And I mean, it just goes to show like the insane scale of Wikipedia and the internet, and how kind of awesome it is that just through a terminal we can get all of this information, which is really great. So I'm just going to close this before I have like terabytes of change data on a file that I'm never going to remember to look at. But let's just like look. I'm going to open up Vim because I'm familiar with it. Let's just like look inside of that Wikipedia file now and go to the bottom of it. So we wrote like 6,000 lines. That's what the 6,300 over here is. And we can see like a lot of this similar information. And maybe with grep commands now, like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, I'm really feeling it right now, I guess. But, like inside of wiki. Oh, we don't need to pipe anything. We just got to do grep. And then I don't know like exactly what interesting information was written in the last 30 seconds that could be like worth grepping right now, but maybe we want to see like if any articles had been written about. Well, I see Poland's there, so I'm just gonna say like, was there only one article written about Poland, or were there many articles written about Poland? Let's see. So I'm gonna do grep -I, and then I'm gonna do my search term, which will be Poland. And then I'm going to specify the file that I want to search in. And I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to press Enter. And it looks like we did have a few writings on Poland. So someone's out there actively making changes to like Poland Wikipedia pages right now. And I think that society is better for it. Support free and open source software. I guess that's the last thing I'll say. So I'm going to read the comments, and I'll probably be talking to many of you for like the next 10 minutes. But thank you all so much for spending the last 2 hours with me, learning a little bit more about the CLI. I hope that at least one of these things you use in the future. And regardless of if you retained a lot of it, like a lot of these things will be coming back in one way or another in your development careers, in your IT careers. And you should get excited for it. This stuff's really great, and we're always upskilling. Like everyone is always learning. So I hope you enjoy learning. So thank you all. Working on designing a PCB while watching you. What's a PCB? And I will be just on if you want to send me any messages, but I think that is a wrap necessarily. I got you. I see. We could do some of this. Oh, it's my pleasure. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. How can I prepare for that? I'm looking forward to it for it. So, June, there's actually a great website for you. If you go to like the fellowship website, MLH's fellowship website, if you just search MLH Fellowship on Google, you will see a lot of information on how to prepare for the fellowship, what it is exactly, and when to apply. Another additional way of preparing, I would say, is trying to contribute to open source software in your free time. And finally, I would recommend trying to look for alumni of the fellowship program and seeing if you can create a relationship with them. That might be one of the best ways just to get a little bit more familiar with everything. Um, so good luck though, June. Thank you so much for being a part of this with me, and thank you to Miss Married. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Cubed, good luck on your PCB thing. Do you know the link for GitHub feedback? Oh, yes. And if you have any more questions, for instance, Quackers there, you're asking about the Global Hack Week feedback form. I don't have it necessarily on me, but if you do go to the, well, I see it was posted, so thank you. But if you do have any other additional questions for anyone, please feel free to go to the Discord channel that we have for Major League Hacking, and you should be able to find everything you need there. I really appreciate all your time. I hope that we can all do this again sometime. Maybe I'll do like a CLI 102 class in the future. Maybe I'll do a rework of CLI 101 here and try to like get the flow a little bit better for you all as well. And I hope some of you may be there for that. Yeah, so feel free to sign up. If you write anything for the Global Hack Week feedback, please do if you feel like doing it. It'd be great. And if you go to any of these other events this week, please tell them that Freddie says hi. I think next up there's a data structures and algorithms course, which is super helpful. And I honestly kind of want to do something like that too in the future, so I may attend just to listen to it. But if you do go to that, tell them that Freddie says hello. Thanks. So let me see. What do we have? Some more questions here. What would you recommend to grow your coding skills from zero? I'm trying to upskill from basically zero. Well, everyone has to start from somewhere, Lux. With that said, I would recommend staying in the community, watching a few of these GitHub, these global hack weeks, especially during the beginner week, staying in school. I think that's usually pretty useful. Being patient, and kind of like absorbing things through osmosis. Listen to some podcasts, watch some YouTube videos. Oh, you know what? Hopefully a lot of you haven't left yet, but this is the terminal commands that I was following. Paste. If you do want to just like read up a few more bits of information here, that you'll enjoy that. But what I would say, Lux, watch some YouTube videos on different projects. Usually like osmosis is the best thing. If you do get to a point where you're like understanding code, I would even go on GitHub and try to like read some programs that other people have written that they've posted. It doesn't necessarily need to be like the Facebook website, because that's going to be extremely overwhelming. But you can try to find like some simple C programs that just like make a calculator or something on the terminal, just to get familiar with what other people are doing. Yeah, so next up, we've got data structures and algorithms in Python, part 1. So definitely look out for that. I think it's going to be a series of streams. So I think there's going to be some serious upskilling there. Yeah, honestly, I would recommend going to that data structures class. Any of the events that we have going on during Beginners Week is a great place to get started with programming, and just keep up with it. Good luck, Lux. And if you are still here, feel free to send me a message on whatever, and I can help you talk more or motivate you to keep going and practicing. Okay, we've got some interest for CLI 102. Great. Thank you very much, Lap. What's after Beginners Week? June after Beginners Week, we also have some. Lex, you can contact me on Discord. I didn't really send it out, but if you are on the Discord, you can look for Freddie at MLH on the MLH Discord and send me a message. I'd be happy to help you out there. Happy to help anyone out. But after Beginners Week, we do have a few different courses. We have Data Week, we have Machine Learning Week, and a few others that are going to be coming out later this year. Yeah, so Data Week is coming up. All right, everyone. I'll play some music to play myself out. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you all being here today. See you later.